Okay.
This is gonna.
I've been promoted as a panelist.
I'm still tired.
Whoop. And this is recording as well now, right from the start. Oh, I can pause that till we get a quorum. Okay, we do have a quorum present, so I'm going to start the recording now, even though the meeting's not started. But
Yeah, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, Julie, so that's not going to happen.
right now we're just trustee Holmes, or no, Holmes is here, but Olson is not. Could you guys hear the person say the pledge?
No.
No?
Nope.
I'm going to have to work on that. That's
Jim, can you hear me?
I can. You're gonna get a message to start the video.
All right, there we go.
Yep.
All right.
Still have 5 minutes. I'll go on mute. I'm gonna give Denny a call to make sure he got it. He's plugging in the link now, so he'll call me back if there's problems. We still have 4 minutes, so. How do you like this American thing, Mr. Lee?
Oh.
We the people. Well, I'll go on mute. Denny's calling me. Hey, Denny. All right. I believe that, yep, here's Denny's coming in now, just in time.
I'm in.
All right. So we have all the council now promoted as panelists, and we're ready whenever you are, Mr. Frisbee. I'll share the screen. Give me a second on the.
Jim's muted. So,
Darn mute button. I said a whole spiel that nobody heard. Denny, I like your opening image. You know, I got a lot of criticism for putting mine under my candidacy form, but that's
yeah,
but,
push my muscles off, you know, so.
call to order tonight's regular council session for Monday, December 21st. And we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Is this the same one we're going to hear?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the
And to the
republic
republic
for which it stands, one nation,
nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
It's a little better.
Play ball.
Little
Thank you.
bit,
Thinking.
just a little bit better.
We'll take a moment to recognize and silence for all those that have been impacted over the last years. And when you're ready, Mr. Mallory, if we take roll call.
Okay, roll call for the evening. Trustee Merrill,
Sure.
trustee Reister,
Sure.
trustee Holmes,
Here.
trustee Keller,
Here.
trustee Olson,
Here,
trustee Wagner,
Here.
President Adams. President Frisbee. It's gonna be,
He's here in heart, believe me.
oh, if you guys could only see the lecture I'm getting off camera right now. I will public apologize.
It's all his fault.
Yeah.
So we have an agenda in front of us. I hope everyone's had a chance to review it, and if there's any changes or corrections in it, say so now. If not, I'll take a motion of approval.
Trustee Keller, I move that we approve the agenda as amended this afternoon.
Trustee Wagner, I support.
Motion made by trustee Keller, supported by trustee Wagner. Hearing no questions or comments on a roll call vote will be trustee Holmes,
Yes.
trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Merrill, trustee Keller,
Yes.
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
president Frisbee.
Yes. Okay, the agenda's been approved. We got,
Mr. Frisbee, if I can, one note, and we might have to do that again, and I apologize, but on the agenda, and I'm gonna try to call that up on a screen.
I moved us as revised this afternoon when I made my motion.
Okay, all right, fantastic.
We're
That'll be
covered.
10C then. Thank you, Carl.
thank you, Carl, because I get the two confused, so I appreciate that. I thought about it when we were discussing it, but, so that was 10C, so 10D will drop down to the village grant program?
Oh,
Yes, yes. Well, let's just make the president pro temp, yes, we'll do that as D.
Okay, very good. So do we have any public officials on the call with us, Jim? I don't.
Yeah, and so the record clearly reflects this is my first time doing a webinar, so I just gotta bounce out of this. So our public now is in the webinar spot where they will have to hit the button to raise their hands if they have comments for agenda items. And I see no hands raised electronically, Mr. Frisbee.
Thank you. No, I see no other public officials on either.
No,
No
sir.
citizens comments. So we'll move to the general consent agenda.
Reister, I make a motion to approve the general consent agenda.
Denny Olson, I second.
Okay, trustee Reister on the motion and trustee Olson on the support. Roll call vote will be trustee Keller,
Yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Merrill, yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
president Frisbee,
Yes.
and trustee Olson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So that takes us to item 10, the village council action items, and A, the social district applications. And I see Jasper's.
Yeah, this Jasper's is the only one. Distant Whistle did not, and on the noticed agenda, Distant Whistle wasn't on it, but this is just an approval for Jasper's. Distant Whistle will come January 7th. This is similar, well, it's the exact as the three approvals at the last meeting 2 weeks ago. It is that they individually need approval to be a part of the social district now under the rules of the liquor license. So we would staff is recommending the council to approve Jasper's to be a part of it.
Would entertain any discussion if anyone would like.
Trustee Holmes, Mr. Mallory, just an update on where we're at with the social district. I know obviously with all the challenges with COVID, it may have changed some things, but I'm just curious if from the village's perspective, where we're at in the process.
Yeah, the state of Michigan has approved the village the resolution we adopted to have a social district. Now we're in the process of the 5 liquor establishments also need approval from us as the local entity at the council level. As well, they will get formally approved by the state of Michigan. And most municipalities have found that submitting all those applications together are better. So once we get the distant whistles application in and sent, we will send all 5 to the state of Michigan, anticipate approval from the state within, certainly we would think by the end of January. And we could start the formality of the social district anytime after that. Internally, staff has leaned in heavily to start it once the ability to gather outside increases in numbers in a safe manner to do so. Paralleling all of this, Alex is still finalizing the cups will be printed. We anticipate that'll go in front of the planning commission in January because staff's going to recommend on the initial 2,500 cups to utilize DDA financing for that. And then we can get a gauge as we go through the summer how to progress on that.
Okay, thank you. One last question. I was just curious. I know there's some solicitation from council and others just regarding the logos, and I was curious if there's been a decision on that yet.
Yeah, the staff made a decision. We're working with the printing company on what best can be put on a one-time use disposable cup with considerations of cost in that. But we've finalized that with the printer and they're doing testing on cups. So.
Okay. Can you share which logo was chosen?
It incorporated aspects of what was put out, but it was not in totality any of them.
Okay. So
Any
any
further-
further drew on the napkin that was accepted?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Said, so it was the one I drew on the napkin that was accepted?
Like I said, there could be parts of all of it and total of none of them. So a rather political process in the final version.
Understood.
Any other further discussion on Jasper's application for a social district? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept their application.
I approve the social district applications for Jasper's Pizza.
Trustee Merrill with the motion.
Trustee Holmes, I second.
Trustee Holmes with the support. Trustee Keller.
Yes.
Trustee Merrill.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Holmes.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes,
Fantastic.
so the motion passes.
Yes.
Welcome to the club, but they still have to get through the state of Michigan with their application. What do we have next here? The final recording for the phase 3 and 4 for Centennial.
Yes, and I brought Bobby Durkee, who can give the 1-minute summary. It's pretty much a formality, but if you're okay with it, President Frisbee, I'll turn it over to Mr. Durkee.
Please.
Yeah, as Jim mentioned, this is a largely staff-driven request. The Centennial development was approved in 2018, and Centennial North was an amendment to that existing plan. So the meat and potatoes of the development's already been done. What's happening now is once the roads are laid and the lots laid out, a site condo is recorded formally with the county. Most subdivisions today are site condos, not subdivisions. The subdivision process gives the council the ability to accept right-of-way. Site condos go into this legal gray area. So with phase 3, it's T Pond Court, which is 26 homes. The road's already laid out, everything's in place. That's the final phase. That's a court within Centennial North. And then Alan Edwin has notified me they want to start the final phase, the extension of Harper Grove, which would get you out to U Avenue. That's 30 more homes. So when they record that site condo, all of the roads are public roads. So since we're dedicating public right of way, think of that as the land transfer for the importance of record. Since we're accepting public right of way, I thought it best in consultation with the village attorney to have at least a vote of acknowledging the recording of that final site condo plat. So if there's any questions on anything, I have no issues with everything that's been being developed out there, and T Pond Court features a reduction in lots to correct an issue with overcrowded courts. I know that exists out there that some of our snow plowing team probably can address. And if there's any questions, let me know.
Yeah, Bobby, trustee Keller, this is a little bit, it's not off topic because it kind of goes with this, but I had a resident approach me last week, and I reached out to Jim, and I know he bounced an email to Randy and a couple other individuals regarding stop signs or traffic controls at the entrances to 22nd Street and U Avenue. Are there going to be any type of stop signs put up when you're leaving the Alan Edwin subdivision? Because right now there's nothing, I guess.
Yeah, we'll let Randy go ahead and answer this. He briefed me today, so I'll turn it over to Randy Skippers for the answer.
Yeah, Carl, I had that mistake. There'll be 2 stop signs put up tomorrow.
Okay.
And a little bit of background, Carl, that I think Alan Edwin and the village, we were both waiting on the other.
Okay. I didn't know if it fell under MDOT, if we were responsible, or if MDOT was responsible, or who was to get those up. So
They're going to be at the entrances of the plat there. I mean, that's what the stop sign.
The exits going out onto U Avenue and 22nd Street.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Only question I had.
And Alan Edwin has told me that they've ordered the street signs and everything else for the internal roads. Essentially, by accepting public right of way, there's an expectation of the developer to give us well-built roads, sidewalks, sewers, and street signs.
Okay.
Hey, Bobby, it's Rick Holmes. So this is phase 3 and 4 of the development. Has the developer indicated you as far as how many phases they're looking at? There's a lot of land out that way. And when you look at the map that's been provided, this basically doubles in size of the current development. I'm just curious from their perspective, what kind of window are they looking at, or what have they been able to share with you?
This is a total of 56 homes between the 2 phases, the final of 106. At least in this quadrant of the village, they're completing again the overall plan from 2008, at least within the village limits. There's no room to expand. I suppose there's that farm field between Trillium and Centennial, but I know of no interest of anyone developing any housing in the village, at a subdivision size. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. I was not aware of that, so thank you.
And I know apparently these phases, there are about 26 to 30 homes in each one, and they're selling them out each year. So I know that the village is a popular place to move.
Well, I will say I know from past experience with the Planning Commission working with their team that half a section that runs along Portage Road has really been deemed in our 5-year plan as agricultural land, and it'd have to go through zoning board and whatnot to get it. And we're not here to discuss that right now, but I've not heard of any future plans of development in there. And I think we, as a resident here, I'd rather see that retain that rural look in the farm field. And that was part of the master plan years ago.
I agree with that too.
Working with that crew, when they did their last phase expansion, I told them I could not support it because they wanted to run all the construction and all the traffic through the entrance onto 22nd. And I told them I can't support it. They need to come out to U Avenue, and which they agreed to, and which they did. They ultimately moved all the entrance and everything over there. So I've been pleased with working with their organization and what they've done to accommodate us.
So President Frisbee, just to confirm, so the land to the west of this phase, that is agricultural land that obviously we would have to go through a process to get it changed if that was to happen. But as it is today, the only development that will move forward is simply, this is the last phase of the development, I guess, that they've identified.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
I'd like
There's
to
many people
chime
in the
in.
community that would
Jim.
like to know that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of land out there, and I think it's fairly easy for people to speculate as some may do.
Yeah.
Tim, I'd like to touch on the point that you made, and I've expressed it at the Planning Commission, and I've talked to Chief McMillan about it and Jim and everything else. They have 2 entrances and exits. I would rather see 3 or 4. And once again, I'm gonna touch on public safety. 2 years ago, they had a fire in a kitchen at the northeast corner of the plat, and only one fire truck could find the house because the GPS system for the county was off at that particular moment. If it hadn't been the fact sitting at the front entrance to the plat and happened to see Chief McMillan, he was over in Prairies looking for the house that was on fire, and it was in Centennial. I gave him directions on how to get in there, and it's no fault of the fire department. It was part of the fault of the 911 system. It hadn't been updated, but it showed an entrance exit at that corner, and yet there was none. I would prefer to see 2 more entrances and exits in and out of that plat. And it's my belief that within the next year or 2, you're going to see a traffic light put at U Avenue and Portage Road. So, yeah.
If I can comment to that, Denny, you're absolutely right. And that's been a concern of mine and I believe Carl was on the Planning Commission at the time also. You can attest to us digging our heels in where you look at, I believe it's Ryan Wagner's home, that bit of a green space between his and the next place over.
Yeah.
That was forced on them for an egress.
Yeah,
Because
it
when they
was
first
gonna
built
be.
this, there was only one entrance and exit to the place.
Wow.
And in the case of a natural disaster, there's no way to get in.
Yeah.
So we insisted that they not sell that lot. In that lot, I'm not sure what the legal term is for a right of way, but it's there in the event that those entrances are plugged up and they have to go through the field to drive in there. And that's why that space is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just called a common area.
Yeah. I remember after we moved into the village, probably within a year or 2, we had a big storm come through, and they clocked 80-mile-an-hour winds at the Kalamazoo County Airport. And the Trillium plat suffered quite a lot of damage. In fact, I had 2 neighbors lost the whole front roof on their house. If we had had a fire start up in the Centennial plat backed up by that kind of wind, I'd hate to see what the disaster would be. I know that they had a kitchen fire over there about 2 months ago, and the Vicksburg PD police department, I believe, started evacuating the neighboring home in case that fire did spread. That's a scary scenario. What's even scarier is not being able to get a fire truck in there. So
Right. That's things we need to consider as the future growth of this village. We all have to look at the pros and cons of how this village grows and where we put our efforts and how we allow it to expand. So these are all good conversations. But at the time legally, we had no legal recourse to mandate. They had 2 entrance and exits, but we just kept pushing on them and they finally agreed to have that common space there. So I think ultimately they want to do the right thing too. But I concur with you, Donnie. It's it's turning into quite a traffic situation there, and it'll only compound it as it grows.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else would like to comment or discuss? Do we require a motion of just a motion of recommendation? So I would take a motion.
Yeah, no, this is a motion of support to
Motion of
record
support.
this.
Yeah, President Frisbee, Trustee Keller, I make a motion to approve the final recording of Phase 3 and Phase 4 of Centennial North.
Trustee Reister, second.
We have the motion made by trustee Keller and supported by trustee Reister. I didn't see any other hands or conversation points. The roll call vote, trustee Holmes,
Yes.
trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Keller,
Yes.
trustee Merrill, trustee Merrill,
Not hearing you.
Yeah,
yep, caught a yes. Trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes,
Motion passes.
motion passes. So that takes us to 10C, the Village Grant Program, the
Yep. Yeah.
Business Relief.
Correct. Did send out an executive summary blind copy to all council members. Very blessed opportunity for the village. We, working with the Vicksburg Foundation, have created an opportunity related to the recent orders coming out of the state of Michigan, the MDHHS epidemic orders from December 7th, 2020, specific to the business categories, 3 restaurants and bars that have indoor seating capacity, event space centers, or group fitness class centers. We have a total of $40,000. We have initially made contact with businesses within the village limits that fit these categories, and have held 2 Zoom calls educating them, but certainly have put this in front of the council for, and we recommend support, and we'll go ahead and administer this grant opportunity locally. We've also timelined it out. Tomorrow, we will send the grant request form that we have created to the eligible businesses and come back in front of the council for final approval to disperse the money on January 18th. And be happy to answer any questions.
Any comments or discussion on this grant? That's, I tell you, we're very fortunate as a community to have the Vicksburg Foundation. I know I've said this on a couple of occasions, this just blows me away. And thank you for Jim for taking the lead on this and, making it happen. Thank you to Rudy and the foundation for bringing this to the table. And you'd be quite humbled to hear some of the comments back from some of the business owners in this community. It's eye-opening, the impact it's had on them. So what an awesome opportunity. And
If I may, trustee Holmes, Mr. Mallory, I'm curious how many applications have been returned to you as a result of the initial message you sent out to local businesses?
Well, we haven't, we won't send the actual applications out until tomorrow, but we sent, I think, between 21 and 23 businesses we contacted, we felt could possibly fit one of these 3 categories. And we'll see how many. I will tell you, I was pleasantly pleased once again at the character of our business community, because I had 3 of the businesses that certainly met the criteria, all independent of one another, spoke how their businesses had not been drastically impacted because of the amount of takeout type food that they had provided. And they wanted to see that money redistributed to those that would need it more. So I was very pleased with that. And then we'll know the week after we distribute it tomorrow. I'll update the council on the 4th. We gave them until January 13th to turn it in on the exact number.
Yeah, we had to wait for council action on this tonight, and Mr. Mallory was very quick to call me about the email that he had sent out to all of us, assuming, made presumptuous on that part, rightfully so. But if anybody had a question about why that email came out, I mean, Jim was on the phone with me right away. So it's, we were just all so excited about this opportunity that we were just jumping into it as fast as we could. And I want to say kudos to Mr. Mallory for taking that lead on. So if there's no other discussion, I'd entertain.
I was just going to say, Tim, I was just going to say that this is another example of a small town coming together and making some wonderful things happen for the businesses. And I for one, am very thankful that the foundation is willing to do this. It certainly makes me feel good that we are all as a group going to try to help these businesses.
That, and like Jim said, that some of them came back and said, we did all right during this, give it to others that are less fortunate. Now it's
amazing. It really is.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the strength and character of the businesses in our community right there.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to just reiterate what you said and also say I think it shows how public and private groups can come together to solve problems. Many times we look for, the government. Right now, a lot of us are waiting for Washington. They finally, got their act together. And then also many look to the private sector or public sector and say, well, they're the ones that have got to solve the problems. And I think this is just really neat how quickly I think Jim and Rudy and the foundation board were able to come, put this all together. The response from the community, business community has been phenomenal as far as being balanced. But for me personally, I really take heart in the fact that we are able to bring together again, private and public together to solve an immediate need in the community. And I think that's pretty cool.
Only in a small, close-knit community will this happen.
You're here.
Any other discussion, or I'd entertain a motion?
Yeah, President Frisbee, I make a motion to approve the Village of Vicksburg to create a business survivability grant opportunity for the 3 business categories that are listed and most impacted by the MDHHS orders that were extended on December 7th, 2020.
Holmes, I second.
Motion made by trustee Wagner and supported by trustee Holmes. Hearing
Motion.
further questions, we'll take the roll call. Trustee Merrill. We'll try we'll try trustee Merrill one more time.
Okay.
She's trying to say yes.
It's just us.
Yes, and okay, trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Keller,
Yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Olson,
Yes.
and President Frisbee.
Yes.
And motion passes. So
Well done, everybody. And again, thank you to the foundation.
Yes.
So it takes us to 10D, the President Pro Tem. I mean, this was a hard decision, but yet an easy one. I would like to nominate Carl to be the President Pro Tem. Carl's got a degree in political science. He's chaired the Planning Commission, has been an active member in this community for quite a while, ever since he moved here. So I look for him for some guidance and tell me when I'm getting out of line on some business orders. So I would like to see everybody's support with Carl.
I think it's a great person to be pro tem. Congratulations, Carl.
Well,
You gotta vote first.
yeah, we'll go ahead.
Oh,
We
I'm
will.
gonna vote for you.
Full disclosure, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina right now, seeing my grandkids. I got down here 2 hours ago, so I told Jim when he set this up, I said, I don't know what kind of shape I'm going to be in, but I said I need to be on the call because it looked pretty bad that if Tim nominated me and I wasn't on the call. So if I seem a little droopy tonight, I drove 11 hours today, so
I was waiting.
I'm not as young as I used to be.
I was waiting for that phone call to say you were arrived before I put the agenda.
Okay, if there's no more conversation or comment, I'll go ahead and the roll call vote will be to support the nomination of trustee Keller for the position of president pro temp. And we will start with trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Olson,
Proudly, yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
trustee Merrill, she wants to outweight trustee Holmes, so trustee Merrill.
Yes. I can't tell.
Okay. And I don't,
This is
for the
awful.
record, I'm not sure. Trustee Keller will put your first, do you vote on the motion? I think you
I
do.
abstain.
Oh,
He abstains.
he's going to abstain. It's a unanimous support, President
Yes.
Frisbee.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
We have a great team in front of us right here. I won't wait till later to say it, but it's you look at everybody on this call right now, we all bring a little bit of some attributes to this commission, and that I am really excited about it. The thing is, most difficult is that we all are very strong people, very opinionated people, and putting all that passion into the right committee has been a struggle. So I kind of realize now why that all the prior village presidents that I knew of were all retired. So,
You can do it, Tim.
well, we'll move on to Villager Manager Mallory's report.
Yeah, just wanted to go through as time is moving quickly, what we have coming up in the next couple months as it relates to council meetings. You'll see our January 4th meeting will be a little bit busy, and we'll be, of course, getting you the information out ahead of time, and we'll get it out at least a week ahead of time when we're two things is the fire authority results of their fiscal year audit. And we also have a copy of the fire authority's proposed 2021 fiscal year budget that does contain a very slight increase to the village of Vicksburg, and we'll do that on January 4th. There's also, we'll have a summary memo from our village attorney, Andrew Horn, but the collective general law villages in the state of Michigan, led by the village of Clinton, is organizing on an issue that involves lead leads that are involved in private property and into private residence. We want to put that issue before the council with a staff recommendation. Most importantly, it is some of my, we will have the presentation on the golf cart rental package. I just received that today. It is through the budget process. So I think the golf course and people associated with the golf course are going to be really pleased at what we're recommending and the pricing that came in, as well as we held off. A new patrol vehicle was within our 2021 budget, but we asked Scott to hold off. We usually order those in July, but we wanted again to wait to the financing picture was clearer. So we will have that in front of the council. And then we're going to look at the performance of the village the last 5 years, that with it being a new council in November, I think to highlight what's been put in place and where the village has come in the last 5 years and where it ranks within the state. And also some of our investment strategy. I've asked Michelle Morgan, we'll look at how we've invested into CDs and how we're going to expand that as we move into 2021, and a CDARS, which is more safety, but all the details will come. 18th is my favorite meeting of the year. That's when we present the results from the 2019-2020 fiscal year audit. Council will be receiving a copy with summaries yet this week on that, as it'll be filed with the state here by the end of the week. It is without comment and a very positive. It's our best audit yet. So looking forward to that, as well as presenting our capital program recommendations to the council. Really getting through it. February meetings are going to have our DPW pole barn bids opened and our recommendation, what contract to award there to have that new facility up. Also second quarter amendments. And we still, part of our desire was what we describe as a fishing platform on Sunset Lake. And by the 15th of February, I'm hoping to have some competitive bids on that, so we can still yet do that this spring. The biggest thing it's leading to is 6 meetings from now, we will begin the wants, needs, and wishes. You'll be receiving in mid-February from me, each council member, executive summaries for your input on where you want to see individually the priorities in the 2021-2022 budget. I'll meet with each of you individually and begin putting that together. And with as busy as we are, it will race through June and it will go quick. So I'll pause there. I just wanted really to emphasize that we have some pretty important and a busy stretch here that will propel us right into the next fiscal year budget.
Looks good. Can we have a copy of this, Jim?
Yep, I'll send it out. You know, I will, for your calendar purposes, we have scheduled the audit on the 18th, a work session, and then at 7 o'clock, the regular council meeting. That work session will be divided in 2, with the presentation of the audit being the first half, and the second half, the presentation of the capital. And then again, at 7 o'clock, we'll go over the capital purchasing program, recommendations from on compensation, reference the wage freeze and that. And then we have our first meeting January 13th on the infrastructure. So we'll be given updates at every council meeting from there on. So, and I will send this right after the meeting, Gail.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jim, it's Rick. Is there any way with the wants, needs, and wishes that the various council members share with you? Is there any way for you to share that information with everybody's without establishing a quorum?
Yeah, what we'll do is I'll compile the individual when I meet with you individually there from mid-February to the end of February, and then it'll come out in the packet for discussion at the March 1st meeting, and that's when your discussion will take place in public, in a public setting. And what it'll be is a summary from me. Here's collectively prioritized through those discussions, and then we can hone in on it a little bit more at that public meeting.
Okay,
Good.
And really that's given us 3 months to adapt, continue all the data as we've done but that's going to kick it off, that March 1st meeting. I don't know if there was other questions. I did.
Question,
Okay, yes,
on January 4th,
yep,
it's, I mean, lead leads, or is this
Yes.
about lead and
what,
water pipes? Lead
yeah,
leads, or is it,
yes, it's water
Yeah.
pipes, and it's an issue involving that.
what's it mean?
But it's to identify what, from our main water lines that are in the middle of the street, identifying what might be galvanized or lead leads that go into the homes. And we're under a state mandate to replace 5% of those lead leads each year for the next 20 years from the state of Michigan. And there's some legal issues involved in that we'll get into greater detail on the 4th.
We had our lead replaced several years ago now, but it was lead pipe. And they replaced it, but it was in such bad shape that there was probably the size of a pencil lead was all that was left in that pipe that was letting the water come through. So they're bad, the lead, but we had to pay, I think, at least half of the money for that. Is that what it's going to be, that the homeowner's going to have to pay for part of it?
Well, it's pretty in-depth and detailed, so I'd ask that we wait until the 4th to really get in, and then I'll send you summaries on
Okay.
what the issue will be in front of the council.
Jim, when they were doing the tear up
Cutting up.
along the sun there, and they went down quite deep, and they just kind of shook their heads when they looked at it, thinking, what are we drinking here? I don't know. So I want to find out and get it taken care of. So I hope we get this resolved, because who knows?
Well, that's why
Okay.
Jim has entered into an agreement. Well, we haven't entered into agreement. We've asked our legal team to research the conflicts in the state law and general law, and just to try to sort it out. And so he's been contacted Andrew Horn, and he's doing a preliminary walkthrough. And this township of village of Clinton is asking other villages to combine our wherewithal to contract with a larger lawyer once we understand the implications. So there's not a lot Jim can say other than that we want to be proactive and head off before it becomes something that's jammed down our throats.
Good idea. Very good.
Yes, sir.
And Julie, thanks for asking about that. I was
Yeah.
surprised somebody didn't catch it or want to talk
Because,
about it.
you know, it said LED, and I thought, is that lights?
Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be quite a conversation on the
Okay.
4th. The last issue, we had our walkthrough on 22nd Street. The new infrastructure is hooked up and flowing. There will be a test that's part of this process that the company has to do yet, and they will complete. We'll report back. So the council is aware. There are some, like in the Centennial neighborhood where we tore up a roadway, will be maintained by DPW over the winter. The company has supplied the gravel and that product. It'll be paved once the asphalt plants are open in the spring, as well as the walking and bike path that is on the west side of 22nd Street. They will, as it enters the spring, we'll sweep that and take a look at it. We did, so you're aware, Prime Newhoff did do flyovers with a drone. So we have what the condition was prior to the start of the work. And we will expect it to be returned to that condition. There will be sections that we might put in front of the council utilizing some village money to just make the whole thing new, but we'll wait till the spring when we get the data in front of us. So, but unless there's questions.
Is the test a pressure test?
Test multiple things. I can turn it over to Randy if he knows, but it's, I think it had like 6 different things. Compaction rate, the ground compaction around the pipes tested, the inside of the pipes tested. And then there was a lot of vernacular I didn't understand. But the engineers did.
Pretty thorough though.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be the last time we have to address that thing, and
Yeah.
Yes, I will. I am happy to report though that both timing wise, even with a couple things that needed correction, it has come in on budget and on time. So, and Milbrocker, the company, has been very good to work with.
Good.
good deal. No other questions? We'll move on to citizens' comments. If there's anyone on, if you,
And again, I certainly see, I think the chief's phone number's on, as well as fire chief, that is, and Deb and Doug, Jackie and Jeff. We're in a new format with a webinar. So if you want to raise your hand electronically, and then I would give you the ability to speak. There is a hand, Jeff's hand's up, so I'm going to hit Jeff to, let me see here. All right. Jeff, I'm going to promote you to panelist because your version of Zoom doesn't accept webinars, it's telling me. So Jeff will bring him in as a panelist and then ask him to unmute.
Sorry you had to go to all this trouble just for me to say one thing.
That's all right.
Can you and Alex stay on afterwards, please?
Yes. And I'm going to keep you on as a panelist because I think that'll work better.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
yeah, in case nobody was aware as what happened to Planning Commission, I believe it's happened to Parks and Recs. It was quite some vulgar music was blown in on us while we were trying to have our meeting, and then they were able to come in and hack somebody's name and came back in. So there was 2 Chris Newmans on the phone, and one wasn't playing very nice, and we had to shut our meeting off 3 times, I think, and so this has worked much better. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think the panelists can see the attendees, but there's been 2 attendees with very suspicious names, and they've gone on. So I don't know. Yeah, I know Jackie's there, and I asked her to unmute. I was gonna maybe solicit an opinion of if she has been able to hear and see everything as an attendee.
Oh, yes. I see everybody. I can hear everything just fine, but poor Julie must have trouble with her audio.
Yes, she does.
Unstable connection.
They
yeah.
made those jails pretty solid back in the day.
Are you, I think you're hitting some button, Jim.
I am not hitting
I don't know. Just kidding.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Jackie?
No,
All right. So good. And we'll see if anyone else, I don't see any hand raised by the 2. I'll ask again. So I do not see an electronic hand raised, Mr. Frisbee.
All right, so we'll move on to trustees time. I'll ask Mr. Pro Tem Keller if he's got any comments.
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and thanks to the village staff, DPW and everybody for everything you do all year long. It's greatly appreciated. Also want to thank my fellow trustees and your confidence in me for this position. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Ms. Merrill?
Froze up again.
Unrelated, but tonight there's supposed to be a Christmas star at dusk. I think we already may have missed it. Jupiter are almost in alignment every 180 years, every 800
Yeah, 800.
years. It might start tonight. Who knows? Merry Christmas.
Mr. Holmes?
Nothing from me. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Ms. Reister?
Oh, I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everyone and to tell Carl to go to bed and get some rest. Also thank Jim for, stepping out and trying to find some help for our businesses. I really appreciate the fact that you went the extra mile and also for the Vicksburg Community Foundation for stepping up. So, but I hope everybody is safe over the holiday and I hope nobody gets sick.
Mr. Wagner?
Just echoing what Gail said, that grant opportunity could be the difference between having and not having those 23 businesses
Right.
next year. So, I mean, really heads up and a great opportunity for them. But Merry Christmas to everybody. The generators are off around my house now, so the meetings are quieter on my end. And other than that, thank you.
Mr. Olson?
I want to take a couple minutes and discuss the fire authority. I noticed that we're not doing committee reports lately, but Wednesday night I attended the fire authority meeting and we've got good news and bad news. And I'm going to start with the bad news that structure fires in this area are up 13%. And it's a combination of a lot of things, cooking, electrical and such. Right now, we've given mutual aid 13 times in the last 2 months, and we've received mutual aid 16 times. Right now, COVID-19 confirmed type calls make up 78% of all medical calls that our fire department is doing. So it is affecting us all, whether we really realize it or not. Our firefighters, first responders are going to start getting their shots tomorrow, their vaccines.
Good.
And that's going to start at the Expo Center in Kalamazoo. I talked to Chief McMillan tonight. He is going in. So the other big news that came out during the meeting is that the Plainsman Hotel north of Schoolcraft on US 131, that eyesore, they're going to do a practice with the fire department. And I'm hopeful that we're going to bring other departments in to work on this, because I think to take it on alone is going to be quite a lot for our department, but they're going to burn that baby to the ground. So, yeah.
What night?
They have not yet gotten a date. Don Walsh is working on it. Schoolcraft Township attorney is working with his attorney, who's or the owner's attorney, who's up in Grand Rapids, and the owner is down in, I believe, Florida. So there's a time gap there, but hopefully some kind of decision is going to be done within the next few days, and we'll have a date that we can burn that baby. So I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Be safe out there, be careful. And we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Danny. And that leads me right into the committee report. So by the end of the year, by our next meeting in January 4th, we'll have all the committee assignments down. Julie, if you would please reach out to me via email and tell me what you're passionate about, and if there's other committees you'd like to get involved on. So we'll discuss all that with everybody on the call through the holidays.
Okay.
As you get time, but we'll get back to doing the committee reports as we were last year. You know, how many years ago, 4 years ago, Jim wasn't, we were talking about he wanted to be the best run municipality in the country. And I so graciously said, well, I'd like to just be Michigan. And, he took a little bit of offense that I didn't set the bar high enough. But when you hear some of the things, our placement as a community against our other peers, you will be astounded at the gains and the headways been made in the last 5 years. It was very amazing. And it won't be long before we'll be the best in the state and then onto the country. So thank you for that. He talked about the needs, wants, and wishes. And one of the things I'd like to do, Jim, just put this in your ear, going into the new year, as we did last year with that breakout session that Saturday where we all got together. And, it's a little bit more open discussion, more creative thinking. I think we need to do, at least one, maybe two, going into the new year. Well, I said, we got a great team on right now. We've all got great ideas and passions. So we just need to get it into format where we're offsite. I know it may be March, it may even be April before we're all able to sit down together and do this. But I'd like to continue that, becoming the best run community in the country. And how do we get there? Right. So I think we got a lot of good brains and ideas on this team right now. So I'm really excited for it.
Sounds good.
Any other comments or questions? I'll give it a minute. Seeing everybody shaking their head no, I'll call this meeting adjourned, and thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Good night. Merry Christmas, everyone.
I will